Start recording. Great. And today we are speaking about stakeholders map. And as you all are involved into many activities and you are up to something, all of you, it won't be super theoretical session as, for example, you had with lobbying with Andrea Bocconi last week, like packed with everything. It will be also about your sharing. So we'll start with small video and then we will go through some first tactics that worked for me. Then we can go through your experience, what worked out for you. And then I have also another video in the end for you, or maybe two. Let's see how it will go. And I would love to also congratulate Christina on her success because she managed over the weekend to get approval for elections from abroad. Christina, it's great, and we are happy that you achieved that.
Congratulations. Already, the consulates and the embassies are giving us any information, nothing. We have just the first public letter from the president, but we are still waiting. But at least it is a positive letter, yeah. But thank you.
Amazing. And we saw your post yesterday or Sunday about the big forum that is upcoming. So I also would love to really encourage you after the video, like really we can also use you as one of the examples. We are free for, so we can use all of that, how it can be support for you, what stakeholders.
Oh, yes.
Because it's about stakeholders, like all of you are in the environment where you need stakeholders. There is not kind of like a very secret tactic to do that. So we can really use the examples and help each other to do that. So, but for the start, I'd like to share with you the video of one of my favorite, I would say one of really my role models in fundraising and in the world peace. And she's a woman. Her name is Lynn Twist, and she's one of the main founders of Hunger Project, which has been the biggest project for Pachamama Alliance that saved human lives and saved people as Aboriginal communities in Latin America. And she's been fundraising for this in the world. And her peace and her wisdom is inspiring for all of us also in Global Institute, but for me personally, because she has been working really in a hard business and with big sharks to get money. And she still kind of like kept her vulnerability and a very peace approach to everything. So I'd like to start with this. It's like 4 minutes. And also let's see what it brings to you all in terms of our topic today. So I hope you will be able to see it and hear it. Can you see the screen? Yes, perfect. So just now,
yes.
Enjoy.
When you take a position for or against something, there's nothing wrong with that. It's important. You need to have a position to move the ball down the field, so to speak. But a position always calls up its opposition. Left literally generates right. Up actually creates down. Here creates there. Us creates them. Pro-life creates pro-choice. And the more entrenched pro-choice gets, the more entrenched pro-life gets, if you know what I mean. In positionality, that's kind of the law of the universe, that positionality creates its oppositionality. Nothing wrong with that, but it is kind of a dynamic of taking a position. When you take a position also, you assume a point of view. So for example, Brian, who's sitting in the second row here, who's Ariel's beautiful, amazing husband, the one she dreamed up. He's a real person, he's right there. He's in a particular position in this room. He's in the second row, he's on the end, he's on the aisle. He has a point of view of the stage, he has a point of view of the lights, he has a point of view of the screen. And if you're sitting over there in the back row, you have a different point of view. A position actually is also a point of view. When you take a stand, which is what Mahatma Gandhi did, which is what Mother Teresa did, which is what Nelson Mandela embodies, which is what Desmond Tutu embodies, which is what Martin Luther King did. You move from having a point of view or a position on a game board to having
I lost the sound, guys.
all points of view. You can see their validity. You're not for or against any of them, and they can be heard. When someone's point of view or position is heard, recreated, accepted, they can let it go. They don't need to fight for it any longer, and they can be open to the next evolution of who they are. So stand takers in history have been the great ones. And they are the people who've really made something profound happen. They're the people who generated transformation rather than change. Another distinction. Transformation is very different from change. Change goes back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. Change has to make something wrong to make itself right. It has to insult something to make itself right, a change in position or a change in point of view. Transformation never does that. Transformation honors the past, never denies the past. In fact, it transforms it and suddenly has it make sense. Oh, that's why I got divorced. It was painful, it was terrible, but I actually needed to do that to find my own selfhood, my own self-sufficiency. And then the divorce, which was so painful, so awful, is transformed and you begin to see, oh, that's what that was all about. Transformation never denies the past. It never makes it wrong. It completes it and has it make sense. Did you get that? Follow that? So stand takers are people who honor all positions, can hear them, can affirm them, not necessarily agree with them, but allow them to be heard and gotten and seen and received. And out of that, they can be freed from the entrenchment of a position. And transformation then occurs. So I suggest that living a committed life is one that's much more about surrender than it is about anything else. And to allow the universe to come through you rather than to try to manage or manipulate the universe towards your agenda.
So, what did you hear for yourself?
When we realize the importance of taking a stand in our life. So, what the examples were given to begin with, the Mahatma Gandhi or Mother Teresa. So Gandhi took a stand, against the Britishers who were there in our country, in India, at that point of time, to fight against the British and try to attain freedom for our country. So that was a stand, and it went through a whole process, So at that point of time, when our country was under Britisher, so there were a lot of struggles. People gave their lives. Some of them lost their jobs. They were doing nothing. Just they were concentrating on getting freedom struggle achieved. So that was the kind of transformation. So taking a stand in your life, it will come at a cost, but it will produce certain result which will be beneficial and have a long-term impact. So this is what my understanding is.
I like the part about that this transition or transformation is they shouldn't deny the past, just because this is so much interesting thing what we especially should see and hear in Eastern Europe. And when the past is actually trying to be denied by the politicians mainly, like trying to neglect the past, what we had. I talk about the most modern history after Second World War, and then when we've been in the Soviet zone, and when I don't know about Slovakia, but especially with this power change now, but it was again, or in Hungary or in Poland, we can hear about like trying to create so the past was wrong. Mm-hmm. And we, as a current government, we have a right to tell you how it should be and what was wrong. But in fact, this part of the period of 60, 70 years, what we had was actually it was needed to become like nations as we are. So it was also transition, and it shouldn't be neglected. So this is actually something which I would use for the discussion against the political discourse we have. The other thing is I really like to hear about all of these visionaries like Desmond Tutu, like Nelson Mandela, but then you realizing like these were very exceptional examples, extraordinary people who had the visions, but sadly, later on the governments actually, there were no people who were able to follow them, for the long run. So that's what we see in South Africa. I don't know if you're familiar with what's happening in South Africa, but this country is actually dispersing in this, let's say, crisis, in fact, right now, and also the huge racism is emerging over there, like other way around. So now it's becoming the races against the whites mainly, but the whites are still holding the financial means over there. But anyway, so this is very, like, I like the speech, but there was these two points, these two ideas where I took it from that, So the A, never deny the past, even it was a wrong one. The B is, if there are only, single exceptional people or the individuals, the transition might not really success.
Cool.
For me, I like the most this the difference between change and transformation. It opens many doors. It's like I don't know, Trotsky. Trotsky would be change. The Trotskyism is like a change movement. Everything what is has to be destroyed, and we build it new. And transformation is like what I have built on it, and then that's very constructive, productive, is positive. That's the idea I like the most, and it's a peaceful idea also.
Yeah. And if someone asks you that, what is your stand? What do you take a stand? What would it be?
But in what way?
Whatever, like, if you should complete the sentence.
What do you mean by that?
No, if you should complete, I take a stand for. So what would it be? What is that for you?
Peaceful cooperation and transition, cooperative transition. And the dialogue.
I don't know if you are asking what your stand should be, or what do we stand generally for. So maybe for the utilitarian perspective, where there's benefit of more number of people, happiness for the maximum number of people. So suppose as a policy advisor to a member of parliament or to the government, whatever our advice is, so it generally goes into that stand where we try to achieve maximum benefit for the maximum number of people. So that is the generally stand which we have, and depending upon the situation, we try to make that choice. What I feel, that's what I feel.
I guess I stand for to save a human richness. Not if it's right in English, but it's like what I'm working at is the indigenous people and these nations, just to save them, because the knowledge they have is based on social justice. And I think that would be, we could learn back, maybe transform and change.
Vladimira, do you want to share with us, if you are there, what do you take to stand? Okay, not here maybe, or join later. It's lovely to see that all of your stands are somehow interconnected, because Andre started with taking a stand for dialogue, for collaboration, if I heard it right. Abhishek told about well-being of a people, political access, or access to like a good life. Did I get it right? Or
Yeah, definitely. So that's the main crux.
and you, Christina, said about like also indigenous people and their well-being and their rights. So, and if you imagine that these take stands are somehow also depicted in your everyday's job, are they? Can you see them in what you do in your life or for life?
Yeah. So somehow it is what I said. What stand do you take? So I was also trying to give you certain example. So whenever we are advising to a politician, so generally we have this in our mind that we are taking a stand on on providing maximum benefit to the maximum number of people, which is what I said the utilitarian perspective is. So from that angle, this is always in the background of whatever decision we are taking.
Andrzej, Christina?
But for me, definitely, I guess. Even in personal, private decisions, family decisions also, I guess. It's like, well, it's very private, but I can tell you, my older daughter is adopted. I adopted her in Bolivia, and she is a kid, an indigenous kid, for example. I did not this consciously, but I don't know, with the time I'm realizing it. Maybe it's like everything is connected, because it's a feeling deep in the heart, and then we create our world around this feeling, this stand for thing. I don't know.
I didn't know that. You told me this weekend they are adopted, but I didn't know she's indigenous.
Yeah, her roots, yes, definitely.
And that's exactly what, when you take a stand, and it's interesting that it's not coincidence that you are taking, maybe your stands are somehow, aligned in some ways, because that's, I would say, is the first precondition to get any stakeholders on your side. Because this is not about, a public affairs consultant working on stakeholders map. This we are not going to talk about, this is not our part of the business. We could talk about how to create stakeholders map for any cost. But what I've been doing for all my life, and why you are here as well, and my passion and stand for conscious politics is, stand for people who are in politics, and finding the right stakeholders to work on. And also who all stakeholders you need to do something, to create something. So when you started sharing your stance, and then you starting sharing how you live it, it's like a first precondition that whatever you want to achieve concretely, then it will really come from your stand. It never will come up only from your position. Like, okay, I want to reach this. It's very much aligned also to the fundraising, but we will go to fundraising in the next session. But it's very aligned, because everyone who is your stakeholder can be either someone you just want to have an impact on, like, for example, in case of you, Christina, those are the people in Bolivia. This is your party. This is everyone who has something at stake. You might be, Abhishek?
So I have a question. So
please.
What do you say say that you are taking a stand, so what does it mean? Because a stand can be negative also. For example, say if Kim Jong Un of North Korea, he takes a stand and goes for war. So how do you see that stand?
Can you repeat that stand on alcoholic?
No,
Or
no, no.
what the stand?
So I'm saying, so a stand can be disastrous also. It can lead to certain disaster. Is it?
So what kind of stand, for example, you have
So
in mind that could lead to
so
disaster?
yeah. So that's what I'm saying. Suppose a certain country, a government of certain country decides to go for war. For instance, I was saying about North Korea. It was threatening the United States of America to go for war. So
Uh-huh.
they suppose they took a stand to go for war. So isn't that stand a disaster?
No, but that's what the others think. I can answer, but if you have any thoughts to Abhishek, you can.
Arab Spring. So Arab Spring was a kind of, it's a revolution which took against the authoritarian regime in, Arab countries. And, yeah.
I would
So
slightly
they,
disagree, but I want to let also the group to think with you if you have
yeah,
if you think about it, and then I'll give you my point of view or my occurring. That's
yeah, sure, sure. No, so my point was, certain stands, whatever decision which we take, so that decision can be disaster or can have negative effects. So what about those stands? Are they, how do we see that? How do we see them? You know?
I mean, like I kind of I don't know if I know what you're talking about, because like this Korea idea example, it's like I think I see the point why why they have the stand of treating everyone else and treating with the war. It's very much for internal politics, like keep the society to feel
No,
endangered.
yeah, yeah.
So this is more like a utilization, of some kind of behaviors for the to obtain some kind of to achieve something, right? But
Mm.
but I think a little bit more what Andra was saying is when we taking some stand is something what we are believing and what we are fighting for. So it's less maybe cynical or less political, and in that case. As you mentioned, the Arab Spring, I think it's a good example, because there were actually people who went out on the streets, and because they wanted to express themselves, they says like they disagree with something, right? And
Yeah,
they
yeah,
found this.
definitely, I understand that perspective, but
Yeah.
I'm saying, a decision to stand against something, it can be sometimes negative also,
Oh yeah.
So
But
that's what.
this is maybe a point of what Lynn was sharing, because
Yeah.
yes, you are right, it can be negative, but also it's like the way you make something with that, because also maybe Kim Jong-un has some stand in life, but honestly
Yeah.
at this stand, do these people, I don't want to say that only people who do good or who do evil make a stand. It's a good question, but it doesn't really seem to me that the definition or the way that Lynn was also sharing about, taking a stance or really honoring everyone's else ambitions, everyone in a group, is a case, for example, of Korea, or it would be a case of Arab Spring leaders in the end. Because if you really take a stand for something, you want to honor everyone, you want to respect everyone. Donald Trump doesn't have anything as a stand, in my occurring. He has position and he also has an opinion. But it's also, and this is something about also you, who you are as a being. That, yeah, go ahead, Andre.
Or make America great again. Come on.
Oh yes, that's true. But that's the
or,
position, because he wanted America great again. See?
or to create standing walls.
Yeah, or make a wall. Yeah, great, honoring everyone's dignity. It's actually making a wall.
Yeah.
You know, I wouldn't really
So
think.
that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Some
Mhm.
stands of some politician can be negative, which we can't really stand with.
Yes, of course. But for you, now it's really up to you because we are speaking to you. Unfortunately, we have no Donald Trump as a member of this academy. Maybe once it
So
happens.
I would have liked.
Christina, do you have something to say, on this? Because you are also dealing with this now with your big stand in Bolivia, and then we continue, Abhishek, with this.
Yeah, sure.
Yes, I can tell you very short. I'm having a huge problem because the forum is being organized with my movement and together with another one, Just Girls, so a women movement, okay? And the title of the struggle of the revolution now in Bolivia for democracy is 21 F. Okay, because on the 21 of February we went voting and it's not being respected. So, and I think we are saying the forum goes beyond that. We have a vision. We want to reach something with the forum, with the topics are being treated in this weekend, and etc. etc. It's like we have a stand. What we have and what we want is a stand. But these girls are now fighting with us because they want in every T-shirt, in every picture, in everything the 21F, and we're saying them no, because the forum is bigger than that. The 21F is a position. Maybe if you meet someone who thinks Morales and his politics are great, then they will say, I don't care about it. That's the other side, But a stand, the forum wants to make Bolivia better, be big again, It's like,
Yeah.
Do you understand me? This is a big fight with the girls now, and I'm trying to explain them to calm down and see farther away, higher, feel higher,
Yeah, because they have their own interests, I would say. Yeah, the position is they wanted to show they wanted to utilize this particular situation to gain something, to show the visibility, to I don't know, to get something from that. But you wanted to show like, this is more long-term thing. Yeah, so that's the stand. Okay. And they are standing in the position. No, we should use it as a kind of tool, right? For yeah.
And they dress it as these are our values. What the fucking value is a date? It's 21 February, gone, and it's already gone because Morales is candidating again. So it's but yeah.
That's exactly maybe, Abhishek, the first maybe distinction you could take. It's not no one of us like says this is like it is. We are not Wikipedia, but maybe from what Christina Andre has shared, it's exactly this, that once you have a stand, you really honor and include more things. And yeah, we could really have a long polemics, and not only with me, with maybe someone who is bigger expert in some specific politics, whether Trump's position or stand. But actually what Christina says really reflects great in a political way also, that who has a stand that really want to bring something higher and bigger, and instead of who just has a position or who just like wants this way and no other way. And when Andre said that he's standing for collaboration and cooperation, you also have differences there when you will be attracting different people who have something at stake, so stakeholders. Very often if you come into any cooperation with them, they are fine, because this is this way, like Christina said, we will help you and you will get us on a t-shirt, or I don't know, the typical way on on a partnership conferences. Sometimes I put you logo and you give me a visibility and I give you money. It's easy and it's very great. It's great. It helps everyone. But that's also the way that sometimes you don't even have a stand that you want to involve someone, that stakeholder means something for you. You just want to have money from him, or from her, or from the company. So with your stakeholder, you put his logo and that's it. So you cooperate. But what Andre said also, and I think what Christina is up to, and you are as well, because otherwise maybe you wouldn't be here, it's that collaboration. And that's something what also is important to keep in mind when you work with stakeholders and when you create any stakeholders map. And what is collaboration? And we don't, for example, have any translation for it in Slovak language, is that you don't really mind that you are not always on the spot of the light if you collaborate with someone. You know, it's like both of you give up something and it's fine. It's like mutual. It's like supporting each other. You are laughing, Andre. So do you have any story from your practice?
I don't really have stories, but I totally understand. Like, we don't really have this kind of thing in our languages, because when you're stepping aside or you're giving a field to somebody else, you are considered as a loser. So yeah, so it's yeah.
Exactly.
But that was kind of in this harsh, 90s and 80s in this former communist countries, quite often visible. I don't know, like in the other parts of the world, but yeah, it's a lot about speaking about the negotiations right now and then things like that. Like, you don't really, it's not a 0-1 game, never. It's always you have to follow, because on the long run, both you are right, so both sides are right, in fact, and both sides have their own rights. Yeah.
Exactly. But this is something we haven't been even injected, I mean, in our regions, and Andre is from the same. So exactly, that's like the first thing you could have in mind when you think of your stakeholders. And not on competition, but on really people who could have something at stake when you work on something. So, for example, when we take Christina's case, like, who everyone is at stake for you, Christina? Who everyone, yeah, has something at stake in your video forum?
Well, the girls group, no? The indigenous organizations from two movements, and a group of young journalists are also helping. That would be that. Nothing else.
And what about other stakeholders?
Well, there's a guy that's making every impression, papers and T-shirts and everything, and he's doing it for half free, for a friendly price for us, but he wants his logo everywhere. And there's also another Bolivian company that are making some the money you become when you're old. What's the name? Rent?
Retirement, yeah, pension, yeah.
Pension, yeah, and this guy makes the pension and a calculation for Bolivian people that are working outside Bolivia, so they have like a kind of pension in Bolivia then after in a few years, and they also are giving us some money, very little, but they want also their logo, so nothing more.
Oh, really?
Well, and press, but I hope they play with us. I don't know. Not any answer now until now.
But you mentioned about your helpers or organizers, co-organizers. But for whom you are doing this? Who is the audience?
For whom?
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly.
People, Bolivian people living abroad. Yeah.
Only living abroad?
Yes.
So no Bolivians who are in Bolivia could benefit from it?
No.
Why?
Well, it benefits maybe on the long term if we get everybody educated and they go back to the country and work there, hopefully. But we are staying really close. We say just for Bolivian people that are living abroad, and the participants are also everyone who's living abroad. We're just taking the indigenous people from Bolivia to Europe to give as speakers, 2 of them. But the rest is just Bolivian people.
But I guess this is in your long-term desired result would be that would also change the situation in Bolivia, right?
Yes.
Like through influence of those people living abroad, in the long term, they would also be able to engage and then to do the changes in Bolivia inside and change.
Yes.
Okay.
That's maybe like a guidance from Andre that maybe not really excluding Bolivians is a good idea.
Christina, what kind of contribution does the stakeholders making, like guy who was making your logo and the girls who were contributing. So is this something which is not comfortable to your organization?
I didn't understand, Abhishek. Sorry. Again.
So yeah, so I'm saying there are other people who are making contribution to this movement. So you were mentioning about few guys who were making the logo on the T-shirt, and the girls who were there earlier, who 21F. So you want to go ahead with them, but they are trying to create some kind of hurdles. So how do you see this situation, and how do you tackle the situation?
Well, very simple. What we create the image of the event now, if everything goes well, then we can keep it and you reuse it maybe next year. If not, then we have to create it again. So that's for me not that big problem. But what I don't want is just the idea and the stand will be taken from the politics parties. You know, this is something from the citizens for the citizens to contribute as the civil society to a political society, and I wouldn't like it to be mixed. But that's just a thing of the image. Maybe we have to next year change the name. That's it, history. But yeah, I guess these girls, we call it 15 NDF, 15 minutes of fame. You know, that's all the struggle. So yeah.
15 MDF means.
But Christina, the political parties are also your stakeholders. But the relatedness they have is more competitive, yeah, in this time. Or what would be the relation of them to you?
Good question.
Because there's also one part I wanted to show you, one stakeholders map, and just for thinking, because that's not only, and maybe Andre is very familiar with many things because he has to do these things in his life. But really, like, you know, here are the names, and this is not important. But what I wanted to show you is that you always think of some people. Okay, this is some stakeholders mapping I did for something. But what is important is really thinking of, you know, expertise or the relevance that is corresponding to the topic or to your case. This was actually the topic because I was working on something. But you should really think who has a level of expertise, or what is the relevance to these actors, to your case? What is the relevance to the political parties, to what you do? Because they have definitely something at stake. Like, this is, you know, this is not NASA that probably wouldn't have anything. This is like very civic.
Well, actually, they are. We need an alliance with them. Maybe I can explain it very shortly. Because of this long-term government from Morales, 13 years staying in power, so people don't want politics. The fault, the citizens, they say politics very bad. No, thank you. So we have this like citizen paranoia, I call it. Okay. Mm-hmm. So, but for the people to get Morales out, we have to control the elections. So for the control from the elections, we need the parties, because we have to become from them the delegation, you know. We need people that goes to the table for the elections, and they have to say, I'm coming from X party and I'm the delegate. So they become the documentation, and we can go with it legally, no, and fight. So this forum wants to take all citizen leaders in Europe together in Barcelona, and we will structure this control election, and we need the parties to hold us the backs, you know, to give us the instruments, these delegations titles, so we can do it, because that's the law. But this is something besides. That's my problem, you know. This is the forum, and this is something we have to do. but the forum next year, it will also be a forum without this. That's what I mean. I have to,
But this year, and anyone like get into this discussion. Like this year, the political parties are the ones that also will be present there, and you have to negotiate with them. No,
they won't be present. I do the negotiations before. I have to take results on Saturday.
Mm-hmm. Results of what?
Results of, yes, you can make a list of delegates and I will underwrite it.
Mm-hmm. Because it's actually also your stakeholder. They have something at stake. And when you, as Andre told you, and maybe Abhishek sees something different in that, really, when you want to continue with this, and you will be also doing this in Brazil, where you are moving, and now for Europe, that's exactly you have to keep in mind how these people, how these parties will be the ones that will have something at stake for you. And also how you get into the collaboration with them. Because that's the case when we sometimes think about the people who have something at stake. We forget about some things, what I experienced, and you can share or you can put yours. Sometimes we forget how it can be helpful for them. Just we see that, okay, they have something at stake, you want to involve them, but probably there won't be nothing. We just need them. Or we'll go just this one way. As Andre said, it will be win for us on a short term, but it won't be, it doesn't have to be win for them. And it could be also that no one basically has win-win, but we have to be aware of them because they might be competition in the future. And, this could be maybe free, easy way of thinking. And maybe the fourth one could be they can be great partners. They can be great collaborators. So any one of these four, if that organization, institution, whoever fits into any of your four, and we could think about more, still is a stakeholder. Even the people on your forum, they are stakeholders.
Okay.
Because they have something at stake. Because otherwise they would not come to the forum. You are stakeholders, you are members, but you are also stakeholders of Global Academy.
Thank you.
Yes, you have another, you can write it down somewhere if you need.
I can share one example from my experience. I'm working in this alternative football club, so we're fighting for equality and fighting against any radical behaviors and the violent behaviors at the stadium, and using the sport as a, let's say, social inclusion tool. And we actually running the program right now. We do the research on the women engagement in sport, in the sport management mainly. So this is actually how I found you, because I was looking at, by some reasons, the Academy of Consciousness Politics jumped out somewhere. So
stakeholder mapping.
So we've been doing.
I'm former ski instructor, if it helps you. That's
so we've been doing actually this. This is the pan-European program. So we have partners from Sweden, from Italy, from Netherlands. Yeah, we are only one Eastern European country. But anyway, at some point we were thinking about, we were doing this mapping for the stakeholders and who we wanted to reach out and who we wanted to inform about the project and about from whom we wanted to get the informations. And at some point we also came to this conclusion that evolving those old, all these guys from the sport federations is actually quite important to have them as well, because we cannot exclude them at some point, because this is actually even if we will be speaking only to the women, if we're going to speak to this, let's say, excluded groups, but without any engagement to this people who are actually in the position of power at this moment, we will not be able to influence them with anyway. So that's why there was also a tool to involve them into this dialogue, into this research, And of course, there will be a lot of different informations and the dialogue and the kind of denying one side of the another. And of course, we already starting to have these frictions between why we are speaking to the Polish Football Association and rather to the speaking to the feminist groups fighting. But I would say, like, because actually those groups are interested in this field, you know, they have their own influence in the field, you know, so that's why we have to have the involve all of them in order to show what is the reality, you know, in order to create this dialogue, because apparently there is no dialogue at this moment. So we actually considering right now as our stakeholders, you know, the all side, let's say from the left side, let's say the liberal leftist political, but also like those people engaged in the LGBT movements, about the women's rights movements, and all this I don't know, like those all these liberal aspects, right? And but from the other hand, we also talking to this very conservative part of the society, in order to have them included into this conversation, you know, in this dialogue, in order to have their input into this as well, you know, it's because otherwise, you know, our research wouldn't be relevant, you know, our research wouldn't be, we would only show the one side of this, right? And the problem would be that we would be instantly denied by the other side, you know, they would not recognize our research or our findings, which creates a huge conflict, you know, it's good, and the complications in the whole process of the dialogue and things like that, you know, because of course one group is criticizing another, etc., etc. So it's, you know.
I understand.
It brings controversy always when you involve one. This is amazing you shared, Andrzej.
Yeah.
Abhishek, do you hear something in this sharing you would like to react, or before we move on, like?
No, it's okay, but I'm just trying to understand, like, suppose we have taken a stand, and after we try to do a stakeholder mapping, and then how do we try to proceed further to attain that decision which we have taken? So, I think it's a process, but how do we try to get that? You know, suppose you decided to have a group of conscious politicians, you know, so you did a stakeholder mapping. Okay, these are the people whom I can meet. So you created a pool of mentors, and then you somehow tried to create a pool of mentees like us. So somehow we got lucky and we met each other, and now we are here. So your decision which was taken, you finally attained that goal to have a group of people who are trying to. So how do we try to do this stakeholder mapping, and what are the hurdles and other avenues which come in our way? So how do we try to attain that? So that's my uh, question, as well as the understanding which I want to have from you people.
So your question is, I got all, but it's like how you connected it, like stakeholders stand?
Yeah. How do we connect our stand or whatever we want to achieve with the stakeholder mapping, and how do we get the final result?
So let's go with your stand. Like, what is your stand? You said it's like, you know, humans. We can also go through your projects you did, Abhishek. I don't know if someone knows what you did for the women in India. I don't know if you know, like, the Abhishek's campaign for. It was like providing sanitary stuff for the women who are in rural.
Yes. So that was done with a different. So we had a meeting with few people, and few people were trying to discuss on certain women related issues. So we were trying to target the women issues which were relevant at that point of time. So menstrual hygiene was one of the critical component of the women health. So that was discussed amongst us. So as I work with a member of parliament, so he has the right to introduce law in the Indian parliament, which can be later created as a law.
Mhm.
So we worked on something called as stakeholder consultation, which we say, we try to get inputs from the students, from NGOs working on that particular sector. So we had a meeting with each and every one of them. We got their view. So this is a critical issue of menstrual hygiene. So we wanted to have that cannot be a law. Menstrual hygiene itself can't be a law because that can be a policy issue, but not a law issue. Uh, so so what we did, we suggested 2 days of leave for women
Mhm.
in this particular sector, working in public sector, because law can have 2 days of leave for women. So we call that as a special leave or menstrual leave. You got my point. So two days of off for
Yes,
women.
that the
Yeah.
women would get 2 days off when they have their time of a period.
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
So this was a worldwide movement which I think gained attention in few years. I think in Italy it has been given also, so 2 days off. So we thought, why not to create a law of something this magnitude in India, and then uh, mm, create a debate around this particular issue. So we had women organization, we had discussion, then we drafted the law. Then this law was brought to the Indian Parliament. Also, it was introduced, but obviously it created a lot of debate in India itself. So whether this bill should be passed or not. But my idea, which was there, to create a debate around the issue, to create awareness on the particular issue. So that was fulfilled.
So see, but I wanted you to share with us what were you standing for? Like, firstly, amazing thing like women's health and women's pause when they have a time of their period, and really like providence of all sanitary issues, sanitary stuff, which is like something really big thing to campaign for. And we've just like expressed all the stakeholders you involved. So you knew
Yeah.
what are you standing for, and you knew who you had to involve. So it always comes from this. You can't really predict that this is successful or not, like it will be successful or not. But you can go do everything it's possible to do to make it successful with right people. So I'll share you an example from last year, what actually happened to us. And it also became a little bit of controversy, but also a little bit helped us. And it was when we organized the first conference on innovative politics in Prague last year. We wanted to bring innovations into the politics from every sector. And one was business. And I decided to invite on the board the IQOS company. I don't know if you know IQOS. These are these new cigarettes that are basically not a cigarettes, but this is a special thing you smoke, but you just inhale the stuff. It's from Philip Morris. Philip Morris is like, what is Philip Morris International, but they developed IQOS as a pilgrim, like I would say as a flagship of healthy smoking. And in Czech Republic, it's really like famous to have these IQOS cigarettes because they are not really cigarettes. So, and they are, of course, pushing on tobacco lobby. So tobacco lobby is pushing against them because it decreases the all benefits and all incomes out of tobacco lobby. They have a hard discussions with the Ministry of Health, whether maybe, for example, IQOS could be allowed on the working spaces because it doesn't smoke anyhow. All these issues, and it's actually innovation, and also innovation into politics, because those are discussions on all the levels of all the political spectrum, like it's health, it's labor, it's everything. So we decided to bring this partner on the spot, and the CEO of the Czech and CE region to the debate, to the table, and they also became one of the partners of the conference. And the funny thing was that we've been briefing, like I've briefed her. She's an amazing woman. I've briefed her like 3 times, like very clearly what can be said, what is the purpose to be addressed, what we want to accomplish. And the intention was with them, okay, show how innovation in smoking can really impact different laws in the politics on smoking, because that's new. That was our intention we wanted to accomplish. After 3 times of briefing, I would say it was more than 20 hours of like sessions with her, preparing what she's gonna speak about. She came to the stage. She put the banner beside her, which was the smoking is great. Okay, first intention failed completely. And then she started speaking. There was a panel, and instead of like sharing what we agreed on to share, she shared, what are their costs, how much they like earn from it, how tobacco is still great, everything you would like to just, shut up about that and not speaking about this, because the intention was completely different. So I wanted to just show you that, and then everyone asked us, why hell you brought like IQOS to the stage? Why hell you brought smoking to the stage? And the banner there, like behind her, was like, tobacco is great, smoking is great, smoke IQOS. So you have a conference on conscious politics, innovative politics, and you have this on like 50 pictures as well out of 300. The lady landlord of the space was super angry because they are like an innovative space of conscious ideas in the heart of Prague. And she said, like, what is this? Like, why hell you speak from Philip Morris? So it was a lot of harm on the other side. So intention not fulfilled, Abhishek. So you have a stakeholder, they borrowed us money, we brought them on a stage, intention not fulfilled. On the other side, what Christina was sharing, and a little bit Andrei, what controversy it brought. It brought 2 controversies. First thing, everyone doubted, like the people that we were working on it, that if there was a Moët, a French champagne, or if there was a Czech winery as a donor, no one would doubt it, because everyone likes to take a drink for free. If they would, if that would be, it's smoking, that's bad. But alcohol, it's never bad, at any event. Like you never harm, or people don't harm that you serve a wine. Everyone is fine. Oh yes, or beer. Perfect. A beer is the main partner. We will have a lot of beer. No one questions it that this is, unhealthy. But smoking was unhealthy.
But this is in our cultural circles,
Yeah,
so it's perspective.
Exactly. So we brought a stakeholder who had a lot of stake at this conference. She invested, she trusted, and it brought a lot of controversy. So I also could not, predict that this could ended up like this. And I'm happy it ended up like this, because at least we steered the waters a little bit, and she would be still our stakeholder. Nevertheless, maybe I would be much more careful, because they invested money, but they didn't invest so much. So maybe rather I would withdraw from them next time. All right, we will be 10,000 less, but bringing this brought also maybe a lot of hate. So sometimes you can't feel the intention sharing with you this kind of controversy, because it was really stakeholders. She had something at stake. She invested into the conference, and then, everything is faded away. So some of the stakeholders you can't predict. And I think this was like the biggest, and this is the recent case. And they might even turn to your competition. Like you found out something together with them, you start founding the things with them, you start working together. And it was funny with other organization that actually now is our partner, but they wanted to be partner of the conference. Nevertheless, they wanted, I don't want to name them, they wanted to make another workshop there on that day, and they wanted to use the people from our database for your workshop. But what we found out was that the workshop should be on the other day, not aligned with the conference, should be paid, but the money would go to their organization. So, and it was super confusing. So at some moment when we are preparing it, our partner, our ally, became our competition at some point. Then we cleared that and everything went smoothly. But, even in the process of 6 months of preparing something, or as Christina is now preparing a forum, someone can turn up to your competition for a while, then maybe he withdraws or he stops working with you. Someone can, become the controversy that completely diminishes your intention. So you sometimes don't know, But I would still take a stand for these people. And that's something where I started with this video, that when you have a stakeholders you really want to bring to the space, you take a stand for this, and then you can't really do it for 100%, but you can still deny, defense it, why you decided for them. Because stakeholders is also managing the relationship with these people. It's not only the companies that put your logo in, okay, thanks guys. But at some point, what I've discovered when you also asked me about Global Academy, this wasn't existing last year. Like this wasn't in existence in October and also in November. Like everything, all of this, Christina suddenly in Bratislava, like what's this? You on the link, like you connected with us from India. And I think what has been the most important ingredient for me when you ask me creating and finding right stakeholders was listening from a heart and really like tuning in and finding that who is sharing my stand, who resonates. Like when Lynn said, like you honor the space, but you also can really feel people who like resonate with you and who really not. And this was, and then you start cultivating the relationships that are like with the people who resonate with you. Because as I said in the beginning, this is not like a toolbox how to create good stakeholders Excel. I could do this session with you, but I think you would all get bored and it would be for nothing. So, but this is really about you have a action, like you have something to do, concrete project, and you start building relationships. Like Andrea, you met Andrea last week. We've been with Andrea since 2017. They were in the conference. Then we created something. Then I was helping Good Lobby. Then they were helping us. So you want, what I think in the beginning of any small projects, create also a good relationship with your stakeholders. And rather to have less in the beginning than have more, because then you can't really, work with them. It's really like, I wouldn't say it's not key account management. I hate this word, although like the whole business world loves it. I think it's really about cultivating the relationship.
So you mean the stand is not like the higher purpose, but the middle of the whole organization?
No, I think it's a higher purpose. The stand is higher purpose, but how you appear with your stand, how you put it into the place to anyone who doesn't understand this language. Imagine you sit in front of the investor. If you start speaking about, I have a stand for bigger purpose, the investors start like watching at you. I also want to have water clean and oceans is great and fish are alive. But you can articulate your purpose, your stand, through this relationship you start building with any stakeholder. This was my message. So when you talk to him, when you listen to him, when you honor what he is up to, when you also want to help him with something, you bring him to your game, but he feels that he can express what he or she wants. As for example, this lady from Ecos company, she could express herself. That's why she wanted to become the part of the conference, and we still have a great relationship because she feels like nourished, like nurtured from us, from our perspective, our relationship. So no, it's always taking a stand for a bigger thing, but you can't articulate it to many people like this. As Andre said, I love what Andre said as a great example with old guys in the football. Exactly. Because it's lovely to cheer with the women, and I am the first one who would cheer for women, and you are the second one. But yeah, for something, you need these guys. Although they are like, whatever we can imagine. Like, so be also wise. What the relationships you create with whom? With these stakeholders. That's why when Andre asked you, if not Bolivia also would be part of like Bolivian nation or Bolivian parties could be your stakeholders. Yes, they are. Because you are not in Europe, even if you will be in Europe, like you will be creating things for your country. What do you hear, Christina, or what anyone hears? Like, I don't want to, again, speak like non-interrupted. So
I have a problem with knowledge. I don't know how to make a stakeholder mapping, whole stakeholder map, and I don't know how to reach them. So maybe if I wouldn't understand about this process, I would better understand what you're talking about.
Mm-hmm. What is unclear in this process for you?
Again?
What is not clear in this process for you?
It's like my forum. Okay, I have the concept. I want to do this event. And I have my stand.
Mm-hmm.
So now I have to search for supporters, right?
Mm-hmm. One group will be supporters. Yes.
Yes. Where does the stand come in there? That's what I don't understand.
Mm-hmm.
Can I throw some picture? So how do we approach such situation? So I think if you have a broader aim of creating a forum, so first thing which you are asking, that how do we go about stakeholder mapping? Yeah. So I think you are looking for supporters. You are looking for right stakeholders, like who will be supporting you and who will be doing which task. So in order to find the right set of people, you will need to do a stakeholder mapping. So suppose you have a team of guys who were doing the logo design. So you found them through some link. I don't know how you found them, but you got them through some link. And a group of women who were helping you, 21F. So you got them. So this is what we generally call as stakeholder mapping. And so this is what I wanted to let you know.
Okay, and why is the stand important for this?
Why stand?
Yeah, to have a stand, I'm standing for something, social justice. Why is this important in, when I'm looking these supporters?
Yeah. So see, whatever ideology you have, people will follow to your ideology, but the number of people will be very less. For rest of them, you will be trying to somehow influence them, or what I think Niang said that day about the inspiration part. So you need to inspire them, but certainly they will not follow your ideology. So you need to have your stand very much clear. Okay, you want to achieve certain objectives, say social justice you want to achieve, but each and every one stakeholder or whomsoever you are associated with, they may not have the same vision as you have. So for them to get associated with you, you need to somehow bring them, with you. So that's why your stand should be clear, rather than everyone rather than you trying to make everyone stand make clear about your stand. You should be very firm about your own stand. This is what I.
That is very important. Yeah.
Exactly. This is why this video, exactly, Chris. This is why I wanted to show, because this is exactly what brings you the right stakeholders. Not competition, that will be always there. But what Abhishek and Andrea say, you have to be clear. You can't be like, wait, from one to the other, or that I will be doing this and this and this. No. And then you know who you want and who you need.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Then that was my problem then. Maybe I mean my stand was firm, but I guess the communication of my stand was not clear at the moment. I make a union with these girls.
I think that you were saying that you made peace. You also know that you have made peace with those people who were trying to create obstacles. But you should be very clear that those people are not in sync with your vision or your idea of social justice. So that peace you have to achieve.
Okay, I get it. Thank you very much.
Christina, I'm thinking, I just share with you guys the link to the handbook for this from the Civicus about the stakeholder mapping and creation the alliances, and then so you can take a look. It's a long guidebook, so it's pretty boring though. But I'm thinking actually, Christina because for this conference, like maybe this organization, Civicus, would be the relevant organization for you to reach out, because they could help you out with expertise and also with the potential partners. I'm thinking just because I used to work for them for some time, and I found them really great organization, to be honest. And they're working also in the Southern Hemisphere, so Bolivia is definitely in their scope of interest. And how would you identify your cause, your organizational movement? Is it like a protest movement, or this is more like a advocacy movement? How would you? Because I'm thinking whom I should connect you directly. Because if if you send the email, so then it's before someone, they will identify the correct person. It's going to take some time, but maybe I can connect you directly with the relevant individual over there.
I guess we make more advocacy because, for example, these girls, these 21F, they are a protest movement. They just go to the streets and yell very loud and very colorful. So we make always this content our work. So we study their topics, and we make documents, and then we give advice to other civic groups what actions they can take. So
you would be more advocacy then, okay? Because they have a people dealing with the protest movements, and they have a people dealing with the advocacy organizations. So maybe these advocacy people would be better for you to connect you with. So.
Thank
so
you, Andre.
I will be happy to connect you at maybe later this week, and then maybe they can help you out. Maybe they even can help you a little bit with financing, etc., etc. Or at least they can give you some hints, and maybe for future as well. That can be super useful for you for the next conferences. If this time is too late, because I know it's always quite often time constraints, and sometimes you just need to have a, Anyway, that was just like.
Thank you very much, Andre.
That's exactly what this session is supposed to be, like starting to think about who are the right ones, because exactly, and maybe they will come, you never know, because also any one of you, and you, Abhishek, asked me how is like your intention and stakeholders will match, and Christina is experiencing in a few days. You never know how it ends up, but you can also invite them. And also the tiny thing you invite and let them know, as Andre will just connect you with them, it might start, creating a relationship. They will feel involved into something that is appealing for the Southern Hemisphere, because the issue of Bolivia is also issue of Venezuela. It's like we've been so much forgetting Latina countries that now I think we face it back, and still not as a Europe, but also we in Europe. And we have people.
No, we have. We have a southern cooperation,
Yeah. So we start maybe feeling that. So
So also I think you are missing on the fundraising aspect.
That we will do on another session. We will have another session of fundraising. We are not going to that today, because that's another. I thought I want also you to make some preparation, and we will go through different tactics on fundraising. I just want to open it up, because when you have a stakeholder, you can think of the forms of fundraising if that person is really, because it doesn't have to be only money. That's why I started with Lynn Twist, and we will continue with her next time also, because she really launched the book on the soul of the money, and she's been really thinking. I will send you the videos because they're on YouTube. But that's amazing that over those many years she's been fundraising like millions, even billions of US dollars from big sharks in every single aspect of business. She came from that, who is really her stakeholder, and she can build a relationship with, to who has only the money in the pocket. And that's okay. And really we need that? Maybe not. But that's also my point. That's also, I think, also Christina Andre's point, to connect you with these people, because it's the first step. Because then it's very easy then to ask for, maybe even for financial support. When when you listen what they need, when you listen what they are up to. And Christina, you were at the listening exercise this weekend.
Yes, it was amazing.
You can share maybe, because it's connected a little bit.
Yeah, you can share with us. You can, and then we can learn to listen.
Sorry, Christina, do you know the Foundation Construir from the movement or association Construir? Yeah, because
in Bolivia.
They are from Bolivia, and I have like 69. There's like representing national and local governments, civil society organizations, private sector, indigenous groups, farmers organizations from Bolivia, and they are kind of like a stakeholder mapping organization as well. So they're trying to put, Bolivian or other organizations for a dialogue on social change.
And this is a Bolivian NGO?
I believe so, yes.
Okay, but because the problem is the government took every NGOs away.
Okay, so I
will look for them. Yeah,
that might be the old data, because this is quite, it's from 2016, so it's already a few years ago. But apparently there is organizations like that listed. Yes. So,
okay.
So just have to take a look. Yeah.
That's great.
Thank you. Yeah, about this listening practice. Oh my God. Well, it's about real listening to what is said and also to what's not said. And this practice was about just having 5 minutes with your partner, and you just listen, and the other person has to talk 5 minutes long about what he's feeling, about what's happening, and you cannot make faces or interrupt or trying to help or nothing, just staying there looking at him and listen. And it was pretty difficult to listen and also to talk 5 minutes long in your life, and that someone is not interrupting you. That's something really not normal. It sounds normal. That sounds like, okay, it's 5 minutes, but it is long. It's a whole life. Yeah.
I will share a small short film on listening with you guys on WhatsApp group, so it will inform you.
Yes,
yeah.
because this is like, it was, we both like were experiencing that, and exactly what maybe sometimes you can do with your stakeholder, to listen him first, because we tend to bring our proposal as the first, like, I want to talk to you because I'm doing this, instead of asking for a meeting, having, of course, intention in mind. Why do you approach this person as your stakeholder? But listen to him, what he's up to. Let's give him the first 15, 10 minutes, whatever, how much time you need, also, Christina, and listen where he is. Because in that conversation, it's not actually conversation, it's basically his monologue, but he feels heard, and very much like very well heard, which is, all is the most important thing. And you can then tap into that with the things and benefits you are really up to with your thing. And maybe you know it because Andre was fighting for something, and also you, Abhishek, and also you are, Christina. But it's always good when you have the whole that list, and you will go person by person, or whatever can be impacted by a cause. Also, when you talk to them, listen what they are right up to, what they are dealing with. And sometimes I end up that I think that this is so great. That was the way I found you, actually. There was no miracle. I was not thinking, there might be some Anja in Germany and some Christina in Germany, so I need to connect them or contact them. And that's why you ended up in this space, actually. That when we were on the call, if you remember, you were also with you, Abhishek, it was many times of listening, what are you up to? And I never forget with Andrew, he was like, I might try it. Still, I'm not sure if I won't withdraw the group, but I might try it. So, and with you, Krista, it was like a click. Okay, we found each other, So it's really, when you have this map and when you have these all institutions up to your cause written, then when you contact everyone, just listen what they are up to for a few moments. And I learned it over, and there's a lot to do, of course, but just learning it that it's the only way it works, because then you could easily get them. And it's not a good word, get, because Nienke always says to me, not getting people into something. So enroll people, invite them into the space, because they feel like that's there. So I don't want to say get them, so sorry for this, but she's like, you don't get people, you want to introduce them. And it's also interesting to see that the energy around getting something is that very masculine, very the brokers. Get him down. And as Lynn Twist shares, okay, embrace it and put them, and they feel that they are nourished. That's why they are your stakeholders. They have something at stake, but basically they resonate what you do. They just don't invest in you, and they want to see the results, and when they get the results and money back, they go away.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the best when we will speak about fundraising and about the proposals, and when you really do individual fundraising, people, some of the investors might be your investors with a return of no cash or of like a lot of money, but on impact they do. So also I think in your, it's the word we use in Global Institute, Christian, like return on impact. So you can think of the stakeholders always, and maybe you know it, that won't only want to see the return in their money or in their name to be displayed on the web page or their logo somewhere down, okay, right? But they really want to have an impact. And your activities or our activities and also Global Academy is their space they can make an impact with. So when you, Abhishek, ask like how did I manage also Academy, like for example mentors you meet, they see that because they meet you, they are feeling the purpose they have in this world, and they can connect with amazing people. So that's why they join. If they even like ask that amount of big money, I couldn't pay them now, but even if I had this money, and even if we had them, maybe we would find money for them. You know, it's like the energy is different, and that's that soul of that money when you come to any stakeholder that has something at stake.
Definitely, I got that. Thank you.
Yeah. All right, it's 1 minute to the close because we started a little bit later, but I don't want to take your time, and we could speak for another like I think hour about creating and approaching stakeholders. So I wanted to also ask you what's coming up to your mind, or like some last questions, last remarks, and then I will have another small short video for us like to close, and that's it for today. Because I want to also.
Well, I think today what we learned about the important aspects. So we learned about the firm decision which we have to make to take a stand in our life itself. So after we have a stand, so we now have a fair amount of idea how to go about stakeholder uh, mapping or approach, whatever we say. And then it's all about stakeholder management. And from that management, how do we go about achieving certain result? That is the key. I think the fundraising aspect which you were talking, so that can be a good linkage which we will have in next session.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, take it, Andrei.
Okay, I think what I take it out from this session, definitely. Okay, with the mapping stakeholders or working with the stakeholders or dealing with them, this is actually something what I do, or I used to do for many years. So technically, there are many things which I knew and I was happy to share about. But what I have learned definitely was about the stand, about like something what was at the movie at the beginning, and then you, Abhishek, mentioned once again and emphasize that it's about like once you stand for something, be sure you are clear about it, because then we're going to be way easier to get the stakeholders. So focus on that, and that should be the principle. Like the first thing to do, and once you are clear, so it's going to be way easier to bring or engage the stakeholders. Mm-hmm. And the second thing what I really like was about this transition. What was the beginning of the movie? What I
transformation.
Transformation. Yeah. That was something which was quite powerful, which we are still about. That we shouldn't forget our past, and we should accept the past, and we should consider it as a part of the reality, rather than trying to deny the past and saying it was wrong, because it wasn't. It was a part of their life. So I kind of like that sentence as well.
Mm-hmm. Connecting to Andrei, I think transformation could be also the basis stand for other stands. And starting from that point, I've learned a lot. This is the same feeling like with Andrea Bocconi, you know, it's like a shit, I'm making everything wrong. That's why I have so many problems, you know.
But that's why we
That's
are
right.
here. You need to really, Christina, approach us. Like, and I wouldn't mind even every day if you pop a message to me that you need help with this. We are here for you. You
Yeah,
are.
but I didn't thought it is really a stakeholder problem, the fight with the girls, you know. I just thought to myself, my God, they always find something, you know? It's like- okay.
But don't you feel wrong? Okay.
No,
Yeah, yeah.
I think this is part of the learning process. So we all
Yes.
learn each and
Experiencing,
every
yeah.
day, and from uh, everyone. So we should happily accept that, and we should learn. That's the key thing.
Yeah.
And I'm really blown away what you are up to. Really. And that's why this is kind of my expression to you, this video. It's like a few minutes, and it's called Gratitude. And it's from our mentor in GFU, who is a 7 times Emmy awarded composer. So pretty good, nice man, Gary Malkin, but he's a film and movie composer. And also he lost everything in his life, billions of money, and he had to find new stakeholders. And he found out that his purpose and stand is not just to do the movie music that he's paid billions of money, but he has to heal people with his music a little bit and bring something new to their businesses. So he started doing music differently and get different stakeholders to his life. His name is Gary Malkin. And this is also my gratitude to you, because I also learned a lot, like what you are up to. And also great to know Andre is up to sport, so I can flow in some of the sports stakeholders organization as well. So that's amazing. So, and next session, just to say, I will write you let's do the video, and then I'll just send you something into the WhatsApp regarding the next session, because we should align with Deborah, because she's in Australia. So the session should be in the morning, but I'd like to really talk to you how I can all manage it. For you too, you are in Europe in the morning. But that's not for now. For now, it's my deep gratitude to you. And yeah, and this is the video.
Awesome.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Andrea.
When I watch TV, it's just some shows that you just gotta pretend, and when you explore, you get more imagination than you already had. And when you get more imagination, it makes you want to go deeper in, so you can get more and see beautifuler things. Like the path. If it's a path, it could lead you to a beach or something, and it could be beautiful.
You think this is just another day in your life? It's not just another day. It's the one day that is given to you today. It's given to you. It's a gift. It's the only gift that you have right now. And the only appropriate response is gratefulness. If you do nothing else but to cultivate that response to the great gift that this unique day is, if you learn to respond as if it were the first day in your life and the very last day, then you will have spent this day very well. Begin by opening your eyes and be surprised that you have eyes you can open. incredible array of colors that is constantly offered to us for pure enjoyment. Look at the sky. We so rarely look at the sky. We so rarely note how different it is from moment to moment with clouds coming and going. We just think of the weather. And even of the weather, we don't think of all the many nuances of weather. We just think of good weather and bad weather. This day, right now, is unique weather. Maybe a kind that will never exactly in that form come again. The formation of clouds in the sky will never be the same that is right now. Open your eyes, look at that. Look at the faces of people whom we meet. Each one has an incredible story behind their face. A story that you could never fully fathom. Not only their own story, but the story of their ancestors. We all go back so far. And in this present moment, on this day, all the people you meet, all that life from generations and from so many places all over the world,
India,
flows together and meets you like a life-giving water if you only open your heart and drink. Open your heart to the incredible gifts that civilization gives to us. You flip a switch and there's electric light. You turn a faucet and there's warm water and cold water and drinkable water. It's a gift that millions and millions in the world will never experience. So these are just a few of an enormous number of gifts to which we can open your heart. And so I wish you that you will open your heart to all these blessings and let them flow through you, that everyone whom you will meet on this day will be blessed by you. Just by your eyes, by your smile, by your touch, just by your presence. Let the gratefulness overflow into blessing all around you. And then it will really be a good day.
So grateful. Have a great day and great night. And
thank you.
Yeah, we need to be grateful for the things, also stakeholders who come to our lives. So let's build up from there. And you can find this video in your platform, online platform. You can always go back to it, and yes, you can share. And Christina, you will meet Gary in Jishu, I think. So have a great time, and thanks. For today.
Thank you, Andrea.
For your wisdom, and thanks for your stand. Bye bye.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye bye. Bye bye, everyone.